Today's video is sponsored by Picker's Grip. Stop dropped picks and pick rotation while playing with Picker's Grip. Made with all natural ingredients in Virginia. Check out their website to order. When you support my sponsor, this also supports my channel and it's very much appreciated. Today here at Robert's Guitar Dungeon, we're checking out the Gauss Tape Echo from TC Electronic. It's definitely weirder than I expected it to be. When I first saw it and I saw the color scheme and the mod switch, the 3 knobs, the mod switch, and the color, I took one look at it and said that has got to be an MXR carbon copy clone, and it is anything but. The carbon copy, of course, is an analog delay, a surprisingly quiet analog delay, which is why I was excited. This is not. This is actually a tape echo, and tape echoes are significantly noisier, and tape echoes are noisier and dirtier, and really, in my experience, actually sound better through the front because you get that preamp kind of grit that an actual tape echo machine would have. And if you don't know the history of that, people used to take those old tape echo machines and crack them open and gank the preamps out of them and run them in the front of their amps as overdrives. But so an actual tape echo will actually add a little bit more grit and dirtiness to it. It's not quite as, it's nowhere near as clean actually as a digital delay, and it's actually warmer, kind of a warmer sounding tone than an analog. So when I got this and found out it was not a carbon copy clone, I was a little surprised, but it's still pretty cool. And I went and watched a bunch of demos of this on YouTube, and the shoegazer guys, the ambience players, and the surf guitarists, and all those guys, were demoing this and all having a blast with it and getting some really neat sounds out of it. But none of the rock guys or the metal guys have messed with this yet. So that's why I decided to try it. And now that I've tried it, I kind of see why. While it certainly can fit that kind of music, it's me being a high gain player, running even more gain in front of it through a delay. It works. It just, it's not the sound, it's not the kind of delay that I personally am used to. So, that said, let's get down to the brass tacks of this thing. Solid construction. This thing's built like a tank. Gearman dude actually did a review on another pedal out of this series and said he could drive a nail with it. These things are built so well, and I don't know that he's wrong. Let's see, the sustain is that's your number of repeats, if you will, or how long the delay will last. The actual delay knob is the time knob, and volume, of course, controls how much of the actual delay effect is coming through. One of my biggest I hate to call it a complaint because of the fact that these are budget pedals, and it is what it is. But on a lot of the none of the knobs, I don't know about none of them, most of the knobs, they don't seem to use linear potentiometers inside these things. And on this one though, I think it actually works in its favor, because the volume knob turns up the volume of the effect itself all the way up until about there, and then all of a sudden, then it completely fades out, starts to fade out the dry signal, and then once you got it all the way up, it's strictly the delay. So in this particular case, I wonder if they didn't do that on purpose. So you kind of get two different controls in one out of that one potentiometer. The one complaint that I do have is the modulation switch. They missed with the modulation switch, because the modulation switch does nothing. I tried it dirty, I tried it clean, I tried it on the piezo pickup of my guitar, which is about as clean of a signal as I got, and I couldn't hear any difference whatsoever, and I'm not the only one that has experienced that. Several of the other guys on YouTube that have demoed that pedal have all commented the same thing, so I know this is not a faulty unit. It's just the design of that particular switch. It's just, at best, it's very, very subtle. I couldn't hear anything at all. That I kind of wish they would have used a different component on the inside, something a little bit higher end, but I don't know what that would do to the price either. So speaking of the price, one of the best features about this line of pedals is the price. This particular one I think sells for This is either a $59 or $69 variety. Of course, they're all $59 or $69 varieties. But I will post that on the screen right about there after I look it up as I'm editing this video, and you will know exactly what these pedals sell for brand new. Regardless, it is a fantastic, it's a very good value, especially if you're looking for a very realistic sounding tape echo, which this, I will give it credit, this thing does have some very realistic tape echo sounds in it, and if that's the specific type of delay that you're looking for, this one might be worth a look. A couple of other things I did notice, because I messed with this thing for a couple of hours before I recorded this video, and when you run a distortion pedal behind it, when you're going through the end of the front end of the amp, a distortion pedal behind it, this thing will cause a volume drop. When you're running this thing into the front end of an amp and you're using amp distortion, that's not a problem. But if you have a gain stage behind it in the effects chain, ahead of it, if you will, I think that's when the volume drop occurs. So that's something to be mindful of. Like all the other pedals in this line, non-clicky switch, true bypass mode, top mounted jacks. If you're into that kind of thing, I almost don't prefer them, to be honest with you. Standard 9-volt input. This one does say 100 milliamps. They tend to put 100 milliamps on just about every one of these pedals, just to be on the safe side. Most of them are nowhere near that. I will look it up and post the actual number of milliamps required on the screen here below, so that if you do have one of these, we will know exactly how many milliamps to plan for when building a pedal board with one of these. But yeah, I like it. I dig it. Gauss Tape Echo, TC Electronic. Please hit the subscribe button down below and hit the little alert icon next to it so that you don't miss out. Please check out the link up here in the card. That will take you to my Teespring shop if you would care to support this channel by buying some Robert's Guitar Dungeon merchandise. Leave me a comment down below, as always, and links to the Gauss Tape Echo and any other gear used in this video will be posted down in the description. See you next time. You know what? There are tons of young people out there that want to get involved in music and do not have the means to do so. If you are watching this video, most likely you're a musician, and many experienced musicians have tons of broken and unwanted gear lying around that they're not doing anything with. Please visit my friends at Share the Music on Facebook at the link below and learn how you and your unwanted gear can help change somebody's life.